Okay, first topic of the day, which Potts, I know you are totally stoked about. Earlier this week, or late last week, Square Enix announced a partnership with Marvel.
Oh, it's so exciting.
In a multi-game Avengers
What? God, it's so exciting.
series. #reassemble.
So
Guys,
exciting.
This is awesome.
This is good news. And it's not like Square Enix, whatever. It's Crystal Dynamics.
Yeah.
Making the first one.
Yeah.
Makers
That's
of
awesome.
the new Tomb Raider
Yeah, that
franchise.
Yeah, like I love
They know
those
what they're
Tomb Raider
doing.
games.
I think the only thing that that makes me hesitant with Crystal Dynamics is their storytelling is their gameplay is fantastic.
Well,
but
actually, the person that does their storytelling for
Did
Tomb
she
Raider?
quit?
Tomb Raider quit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
she
I'm
moved
hoping that they're
to
gonna
something
get
else.
some direction from Marvel, but as far as people that know how to make games, Disney and Marvel know what they're doing. I feel like they're making
I
the
think-
absolute
I think they
correct
need to be
partnerships.
careful who they get
You
direction from
can't
at
scoop
Marvel.
up a property like Marvel, which is basically like an entire company built on story making, and not have that be the central focus of your game. Because I think
yes, you can.
They've
Whoa, hang on.
they've
There's
picked a
lots of Marvel
very
games.
story
There's
heavy.
lots of garbage Marvel
there's
games.
lots
Yeah,
of Marvel games
but
that aren't very
there's a lot of
story
story
heavy in the
involved
slightest.
there, and they can't just pick
Well,
up this.
As
and
long
run
as
with
they
it.
don't tap Brian Michael Bendis to do this, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
My whole
Yeah, no.
perspective is I think that they're looking at someone like Crystal Dynamics as as a developer that's going to take care of this franchise. You know what I mean? I think it's been clear in the last year or so that Marvel's making very calculated moves with who they're distributing their licenses to.
Damn Lego.
Meanwhile, DC is blundering around in the background, tripping over shit, falling into manure piles.
Yeah.
You guys like fighting games?
That being said,
got
I liked
Rocksteady.
Injustice a lot.
Yeah.
Injustice was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was
I mean,
pretty nice
but,
and shiny.
I mean, Injustice was basically Mortal Kombat with skins of DC characters. It's not
And
bad at all.
Which was also
Well,
a previous
and
game.
it had a pretty good story.
it was just-
like,
Yeah, I mean, it had a good enough story to launch like a 5-volume comic that followed it. So,
yeah.
I will give it that.
Heard the comic was good.
Yeah,
I
I've heard very good things. I think Alex
but
is
you're right.
reading it.
Yeah, it's basically Mortal Kombat, the DC game, and that's why I like it because
Yeah.
I really like
Well,
it.
No, Mortal Kombat versus DC is a whole different thing.
They made
Yeah, I
a
know,
really
like,
they
that
made a
was
really
bad.
good trailer, and they put like a lot of stuff out there without giving us a lot of substance.
Well,
Because
for
like
this-
you've got like an open
Well-
jail cell with no Hulk in it, fallen Avengers bits and pieces here and there,
I
and
mean,
then the tagline reassembled, which
they
implies
said-
maybe it's not even the original Avengers. Maybe you make like a new team.
I mean, they've said don't expect any details about this game until 2018.
So I'd like to ask you this then. What would you want out of a game like this? Like, what would you really expect? Because I think the reason why they went with Crystal Dynamics, Eidos, and Square Enix is because I think Square is leading the market in graphical prowess. They know how to make a fucking beautiful game. If nothing else, they know how to make beautiful games. Crystal Dynamics, clearly third-person action games are what is their jam. That's what they're good at. And then Eidos, I mean, we're talking the guys who make Deus Ex, you know what I mean? Like, Deus Ex literally got tabled, you know what I mean? Like, they're not doing the third Deus Ex game in order to focus all of their efforts onto this game.
So you've got this trinity of amazing storytelling people, amazing graphical fidelity people, and then amazing third-person action people. So you can probably
slated to
assume
flop,
this game
isn't
is
it?
going to be an amazing, deep, story-driven
Well,
third-person action
it's
title.
Crystal Dynamics is working
hope.
on the Avengers one. How are Square and Eidos involved?
Well, Square is the publisher, and Eidos and Crystal Dynamics, I think, are co-developing it. So my assumption it's going to be something in the ballpark of some sort of third-person action-oriented game potentially.
What I don't want is
Card
I
battle.
assume it's not going to be
Card.
I assume it's not going to be a fighting game. Beyond that,
It's dependent on your character.
what I
Maybe it
don't
can
want
be.
is something like Ultimate Alliance. They've done that route of over top
Yeah, bird's eye
team
view.
stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't even really want to I would love to be really pleasantly surprised with it. I don't want to try to come up with anything. I wonder if they'll try to do anything like that canceled Avengers first-person game from a couple years ago,
yeah.
which looked fucking amazing.
That
I
looked like
think
Metroid
that was
Prime to me.
That
when I
seemed like a
watched it.
focus-tested thing. Like they were like, okay, let's
That
let's appeal to the market. You know what I mean? Let's
Yeah.
just give them something that they want.
It looked really cool though, but
Yeah.
It did.
I don't know.
What
as-
if they took the route of like the Transformers games that we got?
That would be
Because as
pretty
action
cool.
games, those were pretty solid.
Which
Yeah.
ones?
The not
War-
movie
War on
tie-in
Cybertron.
ones,
yeah.
and
Well,
stuff.
okay, not
Yeah,
the most
yeah,
recent
those
one
ones,
that
yeah.
was crazy and awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, the Platinum game.
Yeah, the Platinum
No,
one was
not-
the best.
not the-
I
no.
love that one.
That game
it was shallow, but the combat was
It
good.
was extremely shallow. The combat was good for like an hour, and then you realize you're just doing the same thing over and over again.
Shane, what,
Yeah, but
what
like-
do you, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Frank.
Oh, sorry. No, go on.
I was gonna say, Shane, what do you think about this this partnership? Like, what are you really expecting out of this game?
Like for the Avengers game, I'm not too sure. It's a little bit out of like Crystal Dynamics, as their repertoire is Tomb Raider, Legacy of Kain, these third-person storytelling third-person games. So unless they focus on one particular character for the Avengers and like do a campaign where you're surrounded by the other members of it, and maybe you're playing as like Black Widow or something, then I could see that being the safe route for them. Otherwise, if they want to make it so everyone can play a different member of the Avengers, then they are going to have to go, more probably along the like Ultimate Alliance route of like being able to just choose a character, jump into a scenario, and do the campaign as a certain character. Like I don't really know.
I would rather see like the second Transformers game, Fall of Cybertron, whichever the second one was, where every level you play as a different character, and that level is specifically like designed for that character in mind. I know that made a lot of people angry, and the fact that they took out co-op made a lot of people angry.
Well, that's kind of the formula for the Lego Marvel games. Is like have a Lego character, you're in a new level, use a different one.
Yeah,
And that
but
was
like
kinda shallow
that
for me.
Transformers game was not shallow. It was like, now you're the stealth guy, here's a stealth level. Now you're the brawling guy, here's a brawling level. It wasn't like it was a situation where it was so tight that they were able to really design the hell out of it, and it was great.
But it's like
Yeah.
my thing
I
is
think
like
that would work, but they could also do like just completely separate campaigns too. You play as this character in this campaign, and they have their own crafted campaign. So instead of like just alternating between levels of the main campaign, you would just. I'm not saying that's the optimal route. I'm just saying that'd be another possibility they could be going.
Yeah.
I think that would be really interesting because, I mean, frankly, I can't remember the last time we've had a variety game like that. You know what I mean? We've seen strict third-person action games, like strict action third-person games like the Devil May Cry and Bayonettas of the world and stuff, but I can't imagine what a compilation variety sort of game would look like.
Homogenization is the name of the game in the game industry right now.
Well, yes,
so.
certainly, but I mean, when you're talking about the Avengers, like, you're literally talking about fundamentally different characters. I
And-
think the closest thing we have to something like that is like Lego Marvel superheroes, which
And
is
like that's
Which
awesome.
is a solid game.
Oh no, it's a
I would
great
like
game.
that.
It's a great
But
game.
that's another like let me
Or Ultimate Alliance.
Let me be clear about this as though my opinion matters at all. I hope that they don't go the like strict movie tie-in route.
Yeah.
And I hope they
Yeah,
do
like take
they,
a little bit of liberty, you know.
Yeah, like I would like to see something akin to like comic book games have done this in the past, where it's like it's sort of the movie universe, but it's also sort of the comics. It's kind of like in between. Like people are gonna recognize the characters. Maybe they'll look like they do in the
So
MCU.
are you hoping they're going to do an original story
Yeah.
or retell?
No, I don't want them to, every time they try to retell something, it just sucks.
Well, here's the thing. I think the point that you're getting at is sort of like Phase 1 Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because, I mean, what is Iron Man 1 through 3 other than the Extremis storyline? What is Captain America's arc other than Winter Soldier? But, like, they're varied. You know what I mean?
It takes,
taking
like, the
core of what those
theme.
are and then,
Yeah,
expanding on
it takes the extremely general theme, but it adapts it in a way that makes sense in and amongst everything else. So if they want to do, like...
It's a retelling.
Yeah, if they're going to be like, well, we want to do Planet Hulk, but the only thing we want to take from that is Hulk in space fighting people. It's like, okay, but don't tell beat for beat exactly the same story. I can read that.
Totally.
I think
And
we
watch
can be-
it.
We can be very certain it will not be a first-person game.
I hope. Well,
Yeah.
I
hope,
know.
Like, it
I'll
would-
be
it
honest,
would
I
be-
hope it kind of
It would
is.
be weird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
I
the
mean, it
Avengers
would-
characters are so iconically like them. Like seeing them
Yes.
is as important as hearing them and being them. So
Mm-hmm.
taking
Oh,
that
totally.
away from you and pulling you into first person, you could probably really easily forget who you're even supposed to be.
In terms of the story, Justin, you might appreciate this because you know what it is, but I immediately got the impression that it was like Avengers Disassembled.
Yeah, I mean that's
Immediately.
kind of what I got too. And for the listeners, Avengers Disassembled was basically a storyline where Scarlet Witch loses
goes
her shit
crazy.
basically and starts turning certain Avengers on one another. She-Hulk freaks the fuck out and rips the Vision
Did
in
she
half.
rip the Vision in half?
The Vision starts puking out Ultron robots.
Right.
Oh,
Yes.
And she murks somebody, but like it basically it goes nuts. Like it
It's-
goes absolutely fucking crazy, and it's basically about like how they manage this threat and like come back to one another and like regain each other's trust.
And
basically.
from like a comic reading standpoint, it did two very important things. It's the starting point for like the modern age of Marvel comics. So it's, if you're going to read the modern Marvel events, you would start there.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason it exists is because when I think it was Joe Quesada came in and he was like, guys, Marvel sucks right now. We got too many Avengers, nothing makes sense. DC keeps doing all these reboots. We got to do like a soft reboot. We got to get rid of the fact that the Avengers have like 95 people on their roster right now. Fuck that. We got to bring it back down to like 3 people. And so began this like 10-year span of amazing events that he was helming,
was
basically.
Avengers Disassembled where Sentry murked fucking Carnage in space?
No. Oh, are you thinking of...
They broke Sentry out of jail, and he grabs Carnage, flies him into space, and rips him in half.
That's somewhere... That's after.
Oh, okay.
That's definitely
That's a
after.
badass page turn, let me tell you.
Oh, no, you're not talking about Carnage. You're talking about when he tears Ares.
No, that's
no,
Siege.
that's Siege.
That's
I know
Siege.
that's
Okay,
Siege.
because that is an amazing
Siege is
like
wow.
full
Siege was my
page spread.
first
He
book.
fucking
Yeah,
rips
Siege was a
Ares
great book.
in half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right
God.
down the middle.
That's because they
pages.
finally figured out that people don't want 12 issue series. You can tell a story in 4 issues and it's good. But now we're talking about comic books,
Yeah.
which I could do for another like 3.5 hours. So,
But overall, I think the new Square Enix Crystal Dynamics Eidos Avengers game, I think has the ability to do some crazy awesome things from a storytelling perspective. I think we can almost guarantee that this game is going to be gorgeous.
Yeah.
I have a lot of
from the trailer,
faith
you can tell it's gonna
in
be
this,
gorgeous.
and you guys know me that I don't have faith in anything ever. I am very, very jaded. I feel like no matter what this is, there's a very, very high chance that it's going to be very good. So
Somehow
I'm
I still
excited.
feel like you're gonna hate it.
That's just Potts' default, but I
like you're
think
just gonna
because
hate
I think
gonna
you'll
hold
give
my
more of
breath.
this a chance than most other games.
Definitely.
Or,
I'm just right now. I'm just really pissed that they're like, it's happening, but don't expect any more info for a year, and
Well, that's
who
the thing,
knows when
like,
it'll be
that's why-
released.
I'll keep
Like-
working my Square contact and get whatever piece of info we could possibly get out.
It's just like, don't tell me so far in advance. I don't want a Batman v Superman situation here where it's like, oh, in 2.5 years we'll be able to watch
that's
this
like
movie.
that's like having a very young, excitable child and being like, in 2 years I'm gonna get you a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Like, what?
It's like, come on,
Why?
guys.
Speaking
Fallout
of
4
Nintendo
spoiled me.
Switch, maybe we should get on to our next
Oh,
piece
the
of news.
segue.
Oh, segues.